G'day everyone and welcome back to Two Bacons in Boston. In today's video we're visiting the Arab Norman Palermo and the cathedral churches of Cefalu and Monreale. Now whilst I say that, that's the title of the Inscribed site back in 2015, but we will not be visiting the churches of Cefalu or Monreale or the Zisa Palace. They're the only three sites of these 9 listed locations that we won't be visiting as part of this video. Admirals Bridge was the first location that we visited. It's a medieval bridge that was built in 1131. At the time it was built over Eremiti River. However, little of that river remains today. Admirals Bridge is located in parkland within Piazza Scaffa. It is no longer open to vehicular traffic, but it's open to the public and pedestrians. The 9 locations that are part of this UNESCO Inscribed site are religious and civic structures dating from the era of the Norman Kingdom of Sicily between 1130 and 1194. The next location that we visited was the Church of Santa Maria dell Ammairaglio. Now I apologise about the pronunciation. It's also known as the Church of St Mary of the Admiral. Now this church itself was built in 1143 and it has a Baroque facade and a Romanesque bell tower and Byzantine dome. But what fascinated me about the church in particular was the wonderful mosaics decorated throughout the church itself and its frescoes as well. Entry to this church was €2 per adult. Our next location visited was the Church of San Cataldo, and we didn't have to travel too far as it was built directly opposite the Church of Santa Maria dell'Ammairaglio, where we were just located. This church was a €2.50 entry fee per adult. It has a typical Arab Norman architecture which flourished in Sicily under the Norman rule at the time. An interesting fact about this church is that in the 18th century it was used as a post office. It wasn't until the 19th century that they refurbished the church back to its original medieval state. The pavement remains original, as do the mosaic decoration and the main altar. The next location we visited was the Palermo Cathedral. Now this was free to enter, however you could also buy a ticket between €10 to €15 depending on what sort of tour you would also like to do, which could include the museum, the rooftop view or the crypts. The original church where the cathedral stands was built in 1185. Over the many years and centuries it went through a lot of renovations and add-ons, included when it was turned into a mosque by the Arabs after their conquest of the city in the 9th century. first king of Sicily, King Roger II, is buried within the cathedral, as is his daughter, Queen Constance I of Sicily. After exploring the cathedral, we continued to walk down via Vittorio Emanuele up to the highest part within Palermo itself, where the royal palace is built, and within the royal palace, the Palatine Chapel was built as a private chapel for the King of Sicily. Where this palace stands today was a fortress during the Arab rule. It wasn't until the Norman conquest back in 1072 that the palace underwent extensive reconstruction expansion, transforming this fortress into a royal residence and administrative hub. It was also the first Norman King of Sicily's residence, and the Palatine Chapel was constructed as his personal chapel. €19 per adult to visit both the palace and the chapel. It's one ticket, you can't get individual tickets at all. It's a bit steep on the price side of the house. As palaces come and go, it is a beautiful palace, but where I think the value is visiting the chapel itself. The chapel was by far the best example of the Norman, Arab and Byzantine style that prevailed in the 12th century within Sicily itself, and the reason for this inscribed UNESCO site. The wonderful mosaics and the wooden roof and all the marble encrusted within the walls was just amazing to see. It's also one of the locations where you had to line up outside the church itself, and that line-up lasted for about 30 to 45 minutes as you walk through and are able to have at least 15 to 20 minutes within the chapel itself. After exploring in awe of the Palatine Chapel, visiting the royal residence seemed like a poorer second cousin, but it was still lovely walking around the palace itself, visiting the many rooms and the halls located within. Last but not least is our visit to the San Giovanni degli Eremiti, or the Church of St. John of the Hermits. It's an ancient former monastic church located only several blocks away from the palace and chapel that we just visited. €6 per adult to visit this ancient monastic church. It had a great atmosphere within the church and the church grounds itself, and whilst the interior of the church is virtually devoid of any decoration or furnishings, the red Norman Byzantine domes and the medieval cluster ruins, in company with the garden, make this small church a very relaxing atmosphere to explore. We hope you've enjoyed this short video of our exploration of 6 of the 9 sites of the Arab Norman Palermo and the cathedral churches of Cefalu and Monreale. Hopefully you'll be able to provide a follow-up video where we do actually get to visit the specific churches of Cefalu and Monreale, along with Zisa Palace, being the 3 sites we were unable to visit on this particular trip. Until next time, we'll see you at the next UNESCO site.